be used not in evidence against you because it would be embarrassing. Right, so we're going to be looking at some little stories here, glimpses of Welsh life and character, Mary Trevelyan. And I mentioned the Mary Lloyd a fair bit, and I'd just like to sort of end in tonight to sort of get back to the myths, legends, and ghosts and history and archaeology of Cymru. So the Mary Lloyd, in Mary Trevelyan's own words, another curious custom was that known as the procession of the Mary Lloyd. And there's Mary Lloyd on the image. A man, sometimes a woman, enveloped in a very large white sheet and wearing the skeleton of a horse's head, which was gaily decked with bright coloured ribbons and rosettes, went with a merry procession around the towns and villages, sometimes on Boxing Day, but often from then to Twelfth Night, collecting alms or Christmas boxes. He or she was generally accompanied by a motley crew of spectators and companions and even champions who sang songs with buffoonery and played merry pranks that would be up John Street. One authority thinks the Mary Lloyd must have been in primitive times a kind of animal aid society. When the death of the year came, there would be little providential in the fields, and the cattle, according to the old Welsh adage, were said to have clean teeth. By some, the Mary or Marwch Lloyd is said to have symbolized the grey death of the year, while others regard it to be typical of the death of Christ and his salvation of sinners. The latter suggestion appears improbable, since the solemn and sad anniversary of Christ's death would be likely to follow so closely upon the celebrations in connection with his nativity. With or without that being said, when we did a day school many years ago, it was at Llyswyrney Church in the Vale of Glamorgan. We actually had a Mary Lloyd coming along, and we did a whole day looking at the Mary Lloyd tradition. And one of the conclusions was that the Mary Lloyd is very closely associated with Epona, which was the old Iron Age god. Epona being equine, Eponus, which was the old horse god of the Iron Age, and the tradition goes back all the way back then. And some other people even stretched it to be representative of the horse that was in foal, that was thrown out of the stable that night when Jesus was born, the horse dying, the foal dying in her belly, and hence the skeletal remains represents the anger of the old pagan gods that were thrown out into the cold. Anyway, that was one of the conclusions of the of that day school. Gradually, the Mary Lloyd degenerated in later years, that is, by the late 1700s, 1800s, into a noisy troop of revellers and roisters who struck terror in the minds of young and old folk alike. The old custom was for the men to sing an impromptu song outside any house. Just choose a house. This is how it got in the 1800s. Nothing to do with tradition. Everyone's absolutely pissed. As I say, John, this would be perfect for you. Who struck terror into the householders. They would sing a song outside a random door, and there was supposed to be a bard within who could immediately respond in verse of Cymry, or in the Cornish dialect or Northumberland dialect, because the tradition of the Mary Lloyd is actually a British tradition. The following impromptu verses were sung at a Mary Lloyd celebration so late as the late 1880s. Voices and revelry echoed through the night air, and presently the girls rushed into the house crying, "The Mary Lloyd! The Mary Lloyd is coming! I do not wish to be gathered together by the Mary Lloyd." In other words, there might be some shenanigans with the person under the Mary Lloyd and the maids. So watch out, Sophie and Amy. Shut all doors and windows just in time to escape these revelers who came up and demanded entrance into the house. God, this is getting really weird. Suddenly, the bard within would seize his harp and sing a song. So you can imagine, this is like really weird. This is getting really so weird. But this is the type of things that Mary Trevelyan is writing down. And it said in the old dialect of the land, "What ho, Glamorgan's happy land is full of corn and barley. What ho is your request demand? Answer we grant, should parley." So in other words, they're saying, you know, you've got to respond. Why are you at my door? The people outside the door would then respond in the old tongue of the native land. "Honest men are we, who sue favours many money due to the Mary Lloyd from you." So in other words, it's a blackmail cult, really, by the 1800s. Then the bard within promptly replied, come in, and sit at ease, ye merry sons of Cymry. Here's sweet methglin. Here's cream cheese with milk, cream cakes, and flumery." So in other words, they would be invited in, admitted in, regaled with cakes and beer, methglin, and after being enriched with a money gift, they passed on to another house. Now, if folks, this was what was happening in the 1800s, actually banned across most of Wales by then, because it was lost. People lost the real reason why they did this. And basically, if you didn't open your door to the Mary Lloyd and you didn't sing to the Mary Lloyd outside, the people would usually find a way into your house, rake the coals out of your fire. They would nick everything from your dairy and your parlour, get completely drunk, wreck your house, and then they would leave to go to someone else's house. So it was a license to wreck somebody's house. In later times, a band of unruly roysters accompanied the Mary Lloyd. They would unceremoniously enter anyway, without singing, provided the doors were not barred or bolted without permission. And if the householder wouldn't provide cakes and beer, they would liberally rake out the kitchen fire and nick everything they possibly could. This is what Mary Lloyd is saying. Hence it came to be the custom among the people to bolt and bar their doors when the Mary Lloyd procession went around the town. This was particularly the thing with Llantwit Major. Llantwit Major were very much into this. You can imagine. The very posh people of Llantwit Major. Hey, we don't want that scum in our house. Prudent was a Welsh ordeal of the past inflicted upon any woman who had broken the seventh commandment. The guilty woman, covered with a white sheet, was compelled to walk with a palmer. This is something completely different then. So in other words, associated with women, and this is the other thing as well. So we got the Mary Lloyd procession. So if a Welsh woman was underneath this white sheet, it was said that she would then enter a church to be pardoned for misdoings. I can't really understand what the hell Mary Trevelyan's on about, but when a woman's underneath the sheet, it's got a different meaning. So there we go. And the other thing as well is, now I want us to just sort of do a little bit more of this. I love the Mary Lloyd. Do you know what? Right, Michelle's not in the house, right? I had a sordid conversation with a Mary Lloyd once. Yeah, I shared my bit of bread with her. There was a female Mary Lloyd. And Michelle had to drag me away from the skull because we were getting too friendly. That's true. That's true. Now this is at Chepstow. This is one of the Mary Lloyds at Chepstow. And what you would do at Chepstow? You'd put bits of bread in the tree, and the Mary Lloyd would want to be fed as well and given alcohol. So this is one of the things. It's sort of unfortunately they're no longer doing the Chepstow Festival, which is a bit of a shame. Because well, I've been to the Chepstow Mary Lloyd Festival 3 times, and we take a bit of bread, we take a bit of bread to the trees outside Chepstow Castle, and we feed the Mary Lloyds, but that won't be happening next year. I just want to mention two other things now, right? This is quite random, and John wanted everybody to know the following. He said, "Here we go." John is saying, unable to recruit for Stuart's group, mention toilet, and that is they are off. John's mentioning about I get them under the sheets, bruv. Chepstow. John, I can't read any more of this. Anyway, John's talking nonsense as usual. What I want to do is mention something else. This is another weird tradition from Cymru, right? You know, we mentioned the ducking stool, and the ducking stool in Wales itself is not necessarily associated with a witch. The ducking stool was intended for immoral women, to cleanse them of their naughtiness. This stool or chair was fixed to the end of a long pole, arranged so as to easily be moved up and down over a mill pond, or preferably a pool of stagnant and noxious water. The scold, which is the naughty woman, or the shrews, which are the naughty women, or the immoral women, were seated and dipped and ducked into the water. There, according to an old writer, the scold, shrew, or immoral woman is placed bareheaded and shoeless to abide the derision of those that pass by. In Wales, so late as 1845, shrews were dipped in mill ponds. So in other words, what we're talking about is that the punishment for women and their ill-doing, not to drown them, but you would dip them in the water. Just another final thing. What I wanted to do to sort of complete this tonight, to give you an ilk, the Mabinogion. What is the Mabinogion? So next week we got a specific problem. I can't remember what the specific problem was for next week. What did you all ask about next week? Ley lines. That's right. Are you all still with me?
Just about.
Right, okay. We're just going to quickly do a bit of the Mabinogion. Looking far back through the of ages to the region of Welsh myth and romance is like taking a peep into the fairyland of childhood's imagination, where every blossom was supposed to conceal a fairy and every lurking shadow was the hiding place of grotesque dwarves and wicked or spiteful elves. It is a witching realm full of light and love and beauty, and yet gay and comedy, at times gloomy, even dark with tragedy. So this is the sense of the Mabinogion. So all these stories of our myths and legends, in the dim vistas of those far away, back-blown ages of the Venus of Wales, she is described in the ancient Mabinogion of Wales as a maiden clothed in a robe of flame-coloured silk, and about her neck was a collar of ruddy gold, on which were precious emeralds and rubies. More yellow was her hair than the flowers of the broom, and her skin was whiter than the foam of the wave. This was the Maiden of Wales. There's lots to be said about the Mabinogion. The Mabinogion is a text that really takes us into the deep sense of our history. The Mabinogion meant the collection of things. That's what this is, the collection of things. The Mabinogion is a collection of all our stories, apparently. The Mabinogs literally training. So this is about our laws, our customs, and it's been very much translated. In the region of myth and romance, we see this lady known as Branwen of the white breast, the daughter of Llyr, whose wonderful beauty charmed Matholwch, the king of Ireland, so much that he brought her in marriage. And this is the story of the Mabinogion. It's about giants and things that go bump in the night. Bronwyn had several brothers, among whom were Bran the giant and the half brother, during the absence. And basically, the Mabinogion is a story to explain various stories associated with horses and princesses and Bran the giant and trees and go all those other things that go bump in the night. And what I'd like to do is in the future look a little bit more about the Mabinogion and all those wonderful stories, but just closing on a few final images. So we've got the tree of life that's associated with our landscape, and our landscape associated with kings and various other things, and wild horses, and all those things that have been lost in myth and legends. And that's very much what the Book of the Mabinogion is about. You can find various different versions, various different translations. But what we're going to do, we're going to call that enough for tonight. Are there any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Oh, come on. Let's John. Let's have some something from you, John. I know you want to say something.
Well, not really. No, I can't think of anything. The landmark thing is playing on my mind because it's something I've heard about for years and nobody's ever come up with a satisfactory answer. And I think it's just all rubbish.
What, ley lines?
Yes.
We're going to do ley lines next week, and me and Amy are going to argue that ley lines are real things and they exist. And you know, me and Amy are proper fairies and things that go bump in the night, and that's what we're going to do next week. And John, when we do our next ghost walk, right? Amy has decided to turn up in a purple basque, right, just for you.
Well, yeah, purple's very spiritual, so yeah, I can be doing that.
I have a purple basque, FYI.
Oh, please don't encourage him. So, are there any other questions tonight before we go?
No. Yes, I have one.
Go for it, Amy.
You know, they said they bolted the doors when the Mary Lloyd visited. What if you weren't at home? Would they still like?
No, I've actually not heard of a story of the Mary Lloyd just coming into your house if you're not there. You have to be there. There has to be a spiritual link. I've not heard. No, they just wouldn't go into your house if you're not there. No, there's got to be some link.
Something quickly, Carl, not on tonight's subject. We were driving through to the A48 the other day, and you know where they built the new houses, where the cross inn is?
Oh, please tell me it's haunted.
Oh, on the bit the other side of the road, where the old church was that you talked about.
Yes.
There was a sign that said, "Keep out archaeological site." But I went by very quickly, so I couldn't read all of it. But I'm sure it said something about an archaeology site. I was wondering if you knew about it.
At Landsford Church.
Right.
Yes, by the Crossways Crossing pub.
I'll have a look tomorrow.
Ah, right. I think you're referring to the church. Yes, the church and archaeological site. Yes, it is. Yes.
Well, this was, you know, where the new road goes through.
Yeah.
It the meadow or the little field alongside the road that the sign was, not back where the church is.
Oh, right. And there was no archaeologist working, nothing like that?
Well, I couldn't see anybody. It was all very quick, but and I know that when we went past a couple of weeks ago, there was no sign there then.
Oh, I will actually check it out myself.
Mm.
I will.
Yes. So, if
I might be wrong, it might have said agricultural. I just thought it said archaeology.
well, what it was, you're probably obsessed with me. That's what it is.
Well, yeah.
So we had a great lecture on Wednesday last week. So this week we're going to be looking at inscribed stones. So there you go.
Mm.
So if nobody's got anything else to say, thank you very much. And and John mentioned about I'm not going to mention anything John says about a toilet. But anyway, John's just obsessed with an archaeologist living in a toilet. That's what it is. I think he's jealous. On that note, I'm going to say good night. Anyway, again, Amy, happy birthday. And We will see you all next Saturday. We will do next Saturday. Don't worry. I won't be finding any more weird. Michelle won't be finding any more weird things in the field. So anyway, Sophie, Amy, John, Ellen, Jill, and thanks for the entertainment value, John. And we will. I'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.
Next week.
All the
Night night, Gillian,
Bye,
Ellen,
everyone.
John, Amy, and Sophie. Night night.
Bye.
Night night. So John, babes, John, he's there. John, we'll see you soon, John. Night night.
Night, John.
Hang on, bro. Read your chat notes.
Amy, we got to read our chat notes. Here we go. Ellen has a good connection, as clear as a bell. Anyway, 2 weeks on. Margaret has a request job. What?
Requested a job, you bad-speaking monkey.
What's the job?
Well, we're going to Trellick again, aren't we?
Yeah.
You've rekindled her, quite frankly.
Oh, wow. So we will go to. We're doing next time. We're going to be doing a. We'll be going on the Sunday again. Yes.
Saturday.
We're doing a Sunday because I got these in the evening. I don't want to be late again.
All right. Well, keep me informed because she said she wouldn't mind doing some riddling or washing.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
As long as you don't have to move, which I can sympathise with, because fly heck, lad, I am aching, especially my bloody bottom after rumbling with you in the bloody clover.
What the hell? Anyway, no problem, John. Anyway, is that it, John? Because I'm gonna have to dash.
All right then. Well, make sure you're clear on the date, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay,
I'll be there.
We'll do Sunday, John. And John, I will see you in the week.
Jambo Buana Muriaco.
All right, John. Hey, Amy loves you. Yeah. Night, John.
Amy, get yourself a computer instead of a phone.
I have got a computer.
You're on a but you're on a phone at the moment because you're oblong.
I know I am.